Hi everyone, I hope you are well. Today I am doing something slightly different, as I always like to do. And I'm going to show you first of all something that I did a while ago, not actually engraved, but scribbled. That. It's an obelisk, crystal obelisk, and I took a black pen and I kind of just made marks all over it, sort of like tree kind of effects. What I was doing is checking on reflections and how it's going to behave, so that when I engrave it I have got a better idea of what engraving I'm going to do. Because sometimes you can do a certain amount of engraving and it reflects so much that it all gets blurred out and lost. So it's good to try this whether with a black pen or with a white pencil and get a feel first. So today, now you're not allowed to laugh. I never show you these, I only show you proper drawings. But today I've done a scribble, and for the same purpose, and that is to see how it's going to behave on a glass. Now this is a optical crystal block, a little block. And what I've done is scribbled with my little, what is this, peel off China marker by Sharpie. There we go. Okay. And I have scribbled this really weird looking, you know, it doesn't matter. It's supposed to be an owl. Doesn't matter what he looks like. All I want is to see the effect. So on one side, I have done him supposedly inside a tree. So he's just peeping out. And then I have scribbled around here. I know you're seeing a lot of scribble at the moment, but I've done a little bit of scribble on this side around him. So he's on this side with some a tree trunk going around him. But then this side, I have gone more. I have just scribbled and scribbled and scribbled all the way around, because this is the effect I want to see. That. What kind of depth I'm going to get. So I've got the owl engraved on the back with some of the tree where he's peeping out of, just to add that depth, and then the rest of the bark of the trunk on the front. And so you should get this gorgeous depth, because this is quite chunky. How about that? As I say, that is a funny looking owl, but all it's doing is giving me the impression, and also to see the size of it, the position of it, and that's all I'm going to do really. First of all, I'm going to wash the whole thing off and start again. Job done. Right, this could be a lot of fun. Well, that's a somewhat better drawing. I think you can vaguely see what it is supposed to be. In the drill, I have got a fairly fine gritted diamond bow. And I'm very carefully, without going too deep, I'm making a dent for the eyeballs that is nice and smooth, or a sort of a regular rounded ball shape. But you don't want it to protrude too far into the glass. You don't want an absolutely ugly-eyed owl. So a nice little dent in the glass. Don't forget you want to press into the middle, because you don't want to end up with a donut. Okay, now I have a Dura white, lovely soft white stone, which is going to smooth that diamond out a little bit. This is called a pre-polishing stone. You can see that it's now slightly duller. In actual fact, it is quite a lot smoother. I'm hardly pressing at all, and the drill is going pretty slowly, probably about 12,000 RPM. Those will do. Here I have a tiny brown rubber, and the drill is running a little bit faster now for this rubber. This is optical crystal, and I have to say that I find it a little bit tougher than lovely hand-blown lead crystal, for example. But it is beautifully clear. So now I'm able to polish it out, smooth it out quite a lot more, so that we've got some nice shiny eyeballs. I have got a small diamond burr. Small, but not small enough for the end of the beak. So I'm really concentrating more on the wider part of the beak. I want to try and create something that is quite solid, and I'm going relatively deep at this point. Actually, probably about as deep as the eyeballs. And then just bringing it down to a nice, neat point with a very tiny diamond. Lots of water flowing. Although it may look like I'm creating ridges going backwards and forwards, I'm not. I'm only pressing quite lightly, but relatively heavy as I get to the very point, because I want that to be deep. Sorry about the water just for a moment in the way, but it's the outline of the eyes, the eyelids, that I'm working on at the moment with that same little diamond. Going quite deep. Little characters coming to life now. Here I have quite a large diamond burr. This one is a sintered diamond. That is S-I-N-T-E-R-E-D. Diamond grit all the way through. But having a diamond coated burr is no problem. It's a slightly finer grit. It's not a rough grip. Now, what I'm doing here is creating various areas of depth, so I'm not too worried at the moment about what it looks like. I'm just doing the depth bit. Having said that, I am still vaguely working in the direction of the feathers. So even I am finding it a little bit tricky to see the very fine wet outlines, which I did with a small green stone, by the way. So I am very roughly just going over them so that I can see more clearly where my edge is that I have to finish this particular area. So as I'm coming down the side of the face, I am not pressing that hard. I know it's difficult to show on the screen, but I have gone deeper over the top of the eyes and down what you would imagine as kind of the nose. Seems strange to call it a nose, but I suppose it is. And then it's shallower where I'm working on now, and the beak will be much, much deeper. So again, I'm just mapping in roughly some lines around the edges. There was a dark patch, very distinct dark patch, sort of a line, if you like, going around its little face. And then another area of lightness. And then yet another area at the back. Which then actually in the end is a little bit darker. Again, going very roughly in the direction of the feathers. Just so that in the background, in the end, any texture showing through the final details will be in the correct direction. So it all flows together. Now on to a little bit of wing on the side, and then some of the tummy area, well, sort of the neck and the tummy. Another bit of wing down there. Where I am engraving now will actually be eventually covered with bark engraving, but it needs to be engraved so that it's disappearing behind the bark engraving or the tree engraving. So I'm not going that deep, but of course I am still creating the little texture areas. In the flow of, roughly in the flow of the feathers. I noticed that the side of the face looked a little bit dented, so I am just taking it out a little bit with the diamond. Don't worry about the fact it's nice and bright because I'm working dry. And also around the edge. Just needed to be rounded a bit. Here I have got a green stone, and I'm going to be filling in all of the clear glass areas. And you can see that it is a slight half tone. So if you've got any other stone, pink, blue. I'm not sure about blue actually. I know there is a blue. I don't use a blue, but a stone is going to generally be a half tone. So you can still see the darker area. But it just brings it all together. Basically, we are still preparing the canvas. Because it creates a half tone or a fraction less light than the engraving of the diamond, I'm just going over some of the areas, like I've just done across the top, that I know are going to need to be darker. There is a large green stone out there from some of the suppliers, and that can be, in fact, very abrasive. So that would not be producing this sort of engraving. Whereas this smaller green stone it's a friendly little stone, and when you feel it with your fingers, it's not as rough as a diamond. It is smoother, not as smooth as a Jura white, but it is fairly smooth. And it's a good idea to feel the drilled bits with your fingertips, or the burrs if you like. You get to know them all, their characters, and just by feeling the tip, you can tell what condition a diamond is in. You can tell what it's going to do to the glass. You can see I'm creating I created that dark area down the corner of the eye towards the beak. Very, very lightly where I'm engraving now. Right, so that's pretty much our canvas prepared. And that's the end of part 1, and I'm really excited to show you part 2. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye for now.